No.
For the mini fighters like you, I thought that was strong. Yeah, you go for it. You go for it. You go for it. You're the one that started that shit.
Go on, you go for it.
Well, I suppose that's a what? You want some? And you grip him up and you say what?
What? Yeah, what?
Yeah, that's how you
what?
do it.
No, you can't grab me like that.
So Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. are now confirmed to fight each other in April and in London as per Turki Al Sheikh. But this fight was originally set to take place over 2 years ago now, on October 8th, 2022 to be specific. And back then, the story of the fight was of course that the two men's fathers, Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank Sr., had a great rivalry in the 90s, a bitter feud that gave us two classic fights. Their back and forth war in 1990 in which Eubank stopped Benn in the 9th round, and then their rematch in 1993 in which the two men fought to a 12-round draw, a fight in which a lot of people thought Nigel Benn deserved to win. Now, a trilogy between Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank Sr. was being spoken about back then, but it never ultimately materialised. Nigel Benn never got his win back over Eubank officially, and the two men remained rivals for years to come, even after their respective boxing careers came to an end. Well, leading up to the first fight, the supposed hatred between the two mainly came from Nigel Benn on the face of it, with Benn being this rough and tumble geezer, and Eubank being this pompous and stuck-up character that Nigel Benn just couldn't stand, which of course makes for great TV. And after the two men had retired, the hate still seemed to be more so coming from the part of Benn for the fact that Chris Eubank got the better of the duology, which has continued to eat away at Nigel Benn throughout the years. So yeah, the Eubank-Benn saga was unfinished business, and both men's sons were going to fight it out to settle that unfinished business. A great story for a fight, and a fight that would put in a large casual audience here in Great Britain. Yes, it could be seen as a forced gimmick fight, as Eubank Jr. is a middleweight and Conor Benn is a welterweight, and a win over either man for both of them does nothing in terms of world title shot implications, unlike their fathers' two fights with each other that were world title fights. But if there's ever an excuse for a forced gimmick fight, it was this fight between these second generation British boxing stars. So what I'm getting at here is that when Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn were originally going to fight, the whole reason for the fight was the thing about their fathers. There wasn't really any other selling point to that fight, and not like there needed to be. You know, the trash talk from Benn's part was centered around the dichotomy of Conor Benn not having his hand held by Nigel Benn when he was coming up in the boxing game, unlike Eubank Jr., who was arguably in the shadow of Eubank Sr. when he was coming up. And other than the talk about the dads, it was just boxing talk between the two, and it wasn't overly personal at all. But that first fight between the two was of course cancelled just a couple days before the fight scheduled date after Conor Benn popped dirty, or as a normal person would say, failed a drugs test. This of course stirred up a lot of controversy in the media. There was a lot of backlash towards Conor Benn, who was trying hard to vouch for his innocence along with his promoter Eddie Hearn. So a lot of the controversy was around the removal of his British Boxing Border Control licence, the B sample stuff, trying to get cleared by anti-doping agencies, the statement about the eggs, whatever happened there, and all of those legal ongoings. And many fans assume Conor Benn to be guilty of PED usage, which of course leads them to dislike him. So now that the fight between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. has been made again in 2025, the story ain't just about the dads. It also concerns the trials and tribulations that came as a result of the fight being cancelled last time, and how the events of the last 2 years has led to this fight finally being made again. But much like how a lot of the anger came from Nigel Benn when the two fathers fought back in the day, now the trials and tribulations and the reason for the first fight's cancellation is all on Conor Benn's side. Well, Eubank did get knocked out by Liam Smith in his first fight after that cancellation of his fight with Benn, but he avenged that loss with a stoppage of his own, then went on to fight a former middleweight world title challenger and got the stoppage win in that one too. So he's just done his thing at 160 like he would have otherwise in all likelihood. Then Conor Benn on the other hand has gone through all the stuff trying to prove his innocence and get cleared and all that, and he's had his sort of two comeback fights over in the States. First one up at 154 and the second at a catch weight of 151. So he was getting used to fighting above 147 from what it seemed, to get ready for Eubank at 160. And in both of those fights, Benn fought guys that he was expected to stop, and he actually went on to be taken the distance by both of them. And this begged the question of whether Conor Benn had lost power due to being off of the PEDs, or if he doesn't hold much power above the welterweight limit, or a bit of both maybe. So how does all the drug stuff add to the story of Benn Eubank this time around? Well, it's because Conor Benn begrudges Eubank Jr. for the way Eubank went about the situation, supposedly going by the narrative of Benn indefinitely being a guilty drug cheat and playing the victim to make Benn look bad and make his situation harder, which Benn has been very vocal about in his interviews. So this time around, it is indeed personal. And speaking of Conor Benn's interviews, let me finally get to what I'm here to discuss today. That is the recent behaviour of Conor Benn, which, from what I've seen fans say, has led to him being the most hated man in boxing right now. Yeah, a lot of people did think he was a second generation hype job in the first place, and subsequently, a lot of fans have been unanimous in their disdain for him for the past 2 years due to the drug test situation. But the comments I've seen in recent interviews, in the past few months, looks to have made him the most hated man in boxing today, or at least in British boxing. The comments about Ben are in reaction to the way he's sort of been bringing this tough guy act to a new level and just completely acting out in a way that most people would deem to be cringeworthy anyway, especially from a guy who grew up living a cushy life and all that. But with, again, the whole drug cheat stuff, that makes his behaviour inexcusable in the eyes of most fans. Personally, I don't hate Conor Benn. I don't have much of a strong opinion on whether or not he was some career-long PED user until he was caught, although there are some things that make me lean towards Ben being guilty, but I'll get to that another day. And I'm not so cringed out by his recent interviews and stuff. I'm actually more so amused by them, but that's just me innit. I'm literally not cringed out by anything. I'm not bragging about that by any stretch. It's probably just because my central nervous system is so fried that I don't get the feeling of cringe. And the fact that I've been amused by his recent actions might speak to my weird sense of humour. But yeah, the way the guy's been acting has just been funny to me for the most part. On the flip side though, that's not to say I'm a massive fan of Conor Benn or anything, and I understand that the way he's been acting lately is objectively quite muggy. I can definitely see why people find him unbearable and all that, you know, coming across quite arrogant and dishonourable. But one thing I'm sure all of us who have been keeping up with Conor Benn interviews can agree on is that he is certainly an interesting figure in boxing right now. In saying that, let's finally take a look at some examples of how Conor Benn has been acting out lately. So this stuff of boxing fans not taking kindly to the way Conor Benn has been acting out really kicked off when he confronted Chris Eubank Jr. the day before his fight with Jeremeta on the Beterbiev Bivol undercard back in June from what I've seen. So we'll start with that, and it's obviously relevant as it's a confrontation with his big rival who he's now re-signed to fight. So yeah, let's take a look at this.
For where we want to go in a career, this is a sidestep.
Let's get him in.
Keep that energy, keep the energy. I think he's just approaching. I can't see him, but I can see his team.
You can't see him. You're not seeing that big Satsuma?
Oh, there he is. Can we make this fight happen right now?
No, well, I want to have him come here right now.
It's good to see how he looks at 160.
Hey, Chris, don't fuck up the bag, son. Don't fuck up the bag. Don't fuck up the bag. Yeah, don't fuck up the bag. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I like that.
Like what?
Like
Like what? You're lucky you're fine. Tomorrow, fuck you up right now. Yeah.
You see, this guy comes in when I'm cutting weight.
Oh, comes in when he comes. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow after the fight. I'll see you tomorrow after the fight.
Yeah, you get in that ring.
Yeah, what? Get in that ring. I'll get in that ring and fucking give it to you.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course, mate.
We'll see.
You're fucking lucky you're fighting tomorrow.
You'll see.
You're lucky, mate.
We'll see.
Get your hand off me.
No, it's okay, let him come close, man. I like this. I like this energy. I like this energy.
Yeah, what? You like to get off me?
Yeah, you're a kid. You're a kid.
Oh, you're a kid. Yeah, kid that's gonna fuck you
you're a
up.
kid.
Yeah, kid
You're a
that's gonna
kid.
fuck you up.
You're a
Yeah.
kid. Watch what happens.
Yeah, watch what happens. Dead boy walking, yeah?
You're a pussy.
Dead boy walking, yeah? Yeah, you're lucky. You're lucky you're fighting tomorrow and I need you to win.
Okay.
Yeah, you're lucky, so I'll give you a good ass being in front of 60,000. That's what's gonna happen. 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 I've been there tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow night then. I'll see you tomorrow night then. Arrogant prick. Yeah, get the fuck now. You get out of it. You get out of it.
What did you see in his eyes there, Conor?
He's a fucking pussy. That's what he is.
Did you want to stick it on him there out of respect for him fighting tomorrow night? Is that why you did?
I'm doing a fucking interviews.
Right. Thank you.
Thanks, Conor.
Eddie, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Edward.
Thank you.
What happened there? I was getting a coffee.
So yeah, what do you guys think then? He is forcing the hard man act a bit there, innit? Getting all worked up. I ain't complaining at all because it's to sell a fight that has just been made official now. Because of Conor's drug test failures, people are pointing out, you know, how can Ben have the cheek to tell Eubank not to F up the bag when the first fight was cancelled because of him and his drug test? And then to look at some of the aftermath of that, there was all the talk of Eddie Hearn and Conor Benn having that ambush set up to catch Eubank off guard while he was cutting weight and depleted, which does seem muggy, but it ain't the worst thing in the world because it is promo at the end of the day. But then in Conor Benn's interviews in reaction to the confrontation, Well, we saw him repeating a lot of the same stuff in various interviews after the incident, like his IFL TV interview and his Fight Hub TV interview. And yeah, he was kind of doing the hard man spiel on those interviews too, but he was also going by the narrative that Eubank was sort of the one trying to pull up on him and initiate such a heated exchange, which clearly isn't the case by the clip we just saw. So in the Fight Hub TV interview in reaction to the Eubank confrontation, Conor Benn spoke about Chris Eubank putting him in a tough spot when he was at his lowest in regards to the whole drug test failure thing. So I'll play the clip here.
You know, and the way he's played his cards over the past 2 years with the situation, when he knows it ain't the truth. You know, but he's clever enough to push that narrative. But cool, if you want to push that narrative and you want to lap up and, you know, use my pain as an expense to play the card you want to play. No, I don't think it's. You think I'm going to be cool about that? You think I'm going to be sweet about that? You know, when he's just using my pain as clout. Nah, it ain't on.
You know, now that you have this chance, you know, break down that narrative, you know, the narrative that he's painted out. You know, what do you make of that, and what's your response to what he said about all that?
The narrative that he never knew about the situation that was going on before the fight. The fact that no one knows he, you know, played the card that old poor him. When he knew about it, all he cared about was the fight going ahead. He knew months before the fight. And all he was cared about was the fight going ahead. And then he's put a post there saying, Conor never told me, no one ever told. I called him up personally off my phone in tears, saying, Chris, I'm sorry, mate. Sorry, mate. And then he wanted to use that when I really struggled to do that, have that phone call. You know, so listen, don't play that card then. You know, don't claim I never done this and never done that when I've gone out my way out of respect for you to do something for you, to tell you, to be honest with you, to be transparent. And then play that card and then, you know, try blackmail me for £1 million before the weigh-in.
So yeah, poor him innit. Here's the thing, even if Ben is innocent, let's say, Ben is playing quite the victim here himself, and has done so a lot of other times when being asked about his trials and tribulations throughout the doping scandal. And that's where the issue lies, and where I'd say that Conor Benn is quite a crash out and is reaching Tyson Fury levels of bipolar. Because I'm all for the hard man act in the fight game, but if you're openly speaking about all the tears you've shed over the past couple years because of the drug test thing and how it's put your mental health at a low point, how could you also do the bad man thing? I just can't take that seriously. If it's poor me 1 minute and look at me Ahmad the next, then it's understandable that a person who does that may be widely disliked, no matter what they went through. But in this instance, what Ben went through is the PED case that most people actually assume him to be guilty of anyway, which is why most people can't stand him one bit right now. Alright, so the day after Ben confronted Eubank after Eubank had just made weight, they of course had their confrontation in the ring after Eubank stopped Kamil Jeremeta. And this is one of the instances that have caused fans to call Conor Benn cringeworthy, you know, with the speaking Spanish and all that, so yeah, let me just play it. I ain't gonna lie to you guys, this clip's gonna be very compromised. I've overly edited it to bypass copyright. I've tried over and over again to push the boundaries of copyright, but I'm gonna put the clip in for the flow of the video. But if you can't stand the overly edited version, then just skip through it and go find the interview, or go find the confrontation elsewhere afterwards. And I'm sure most of you have seen it already, but yeah, I'm just gonna put it in just to keep the flow of the video.
You know, I've seen fighters get into the ring to call out guys after a fight. I've never seen one get in quite that fast. Usually you wait for the referee to say he's won it.
As it is, to build a fight, you have to get in there. You have to talk.
He said, let's do a face-off. He goes, come on then.
I smell it. What are you going to do about it? I smell good. Yeah, you look shit in there. You can't find me like that. You get done in 3 rounds. 3 rounds. Put your money on it. Put your money on it. Put your money on it. I can't wait. Put your money on it. Put your money on it. Thank you.
Conor Benn wasting no time, starting the hype for their showdown.
All right, so you talk about what's next. I think what's next, hop in the ring before this fight was even over. Conor Benn. Speaking of easy work, look who we got here, baby. This is the fight everyone wants to see, huh? Yeah, I'm not cutting weight now. Now I'm 168, 170. There ain't no pushing me around now, son. I want you next. We're here, let's do it. I'm so scared. Ooh. After that performance, you think I'm worried? I was having fun in there. I was having fun. Cut by a headbutt. Got cut by a headbutt, but you know, it's nothing. My boy, and we're coming for you, baby. We're going to get some more of that Cucurocho Campeón money, baby. Baby. Pero yo estoy listo. Podemos ir ahora si quieres, cabrón. Vamos. I don't speak Spanish. Translate. Yeah, easy work. I ain't worried. I'll jump up 2 weight divisions. I ain't gonna be no weight, but I'll fight you at middleweight. Okay. I ain't concerned. What, you think you could beat me off the back of that?
Sign the
on
contract.
My worst day.
Sign
on
the
my
contract.
worst day.
Sign the
On my
contract.
worst day.
We'll see.
Yeah, we will see.
We'll see.
Tell Conor Sheikh, His Excellency, let's get the fight done.
It's not good, though.
Yeah, I know it's not good. It's Christian
I can smell
Dior.
that. You reek of fear out here, man.
No one's scared of that, bro. No one's scared of that, man. No one's scared of that.
You're putting on a
no
brave
one's scared of
face.
that. What are you gonna do about it? No, you're
I
not
don't need
gonna do
anything.
anything.
I just did my job.
I know you ain't
Once
gonna
you
do
sign the
anything.
contract,
I know
then
you
we'll
ain't
see
gonna do
that.
anything. Let's get it done. I'll fool you tonight.
Okay, let's get it done.
All right, well, congratulations, Conor. We'll set you guys face off. Hopefully, we get that fight next.
Look, I'm not even going to say nothing in it. You lot just leave your comments down below about that confrontation. Oh, actually as well, that same night there was the whole thing about Conor stealing Devin Haney's seat.
Where's Haney? Where is he? Haney, where are ya? Puss. Where are ya? Listen, not being funny, Haney was supposed to be here, so was Eubank. Where are they? We can have it now, honestly.
Sticking to Conor Benn interviews about Eubank Jr. Alright guys, so look at the fruit displayed on screen, yeah? I have the name of the fruit written here. How do you guys pronounce that? Now I always called it a Satsuma, not a Satsuma, because Conor Benn has made a nickname for his rival Eubank Jr, that being Satsuma Head. And I'm thinking, is Ben saying it right and me and everyone around me have been saying it wrong all our lives? But then I tried to think of where the word Satsuma has been used in popular media, and I was like, yeah, it's Satsuma loans, not Satsuma loans. So yeah, Ben has been peppering the insult Satsuma Head towards Eubank Jr in his interviews. He can't stop saying it. And the fact that he's pronouncing it in that regarded way just makes it even funnier.
Listen, I want to smash that Satsuma Head looking geezer. Eubank, a 160. His big Satsuma Head. Just want to...
You can't see him. You not seen that big Satsuma?
Oh, there he is.
As soon as I land that big right hand on that big head of his, that big Satsuma head, it's fucking massive. You see the size of it? And as for you, Chris, you big Satsuma head, I'm going to splatter it all over the canvas.
It's the WBC world title, or it's Satsuma Head over there. I've agreed to Barrios, I've agreed to Eubank. So whether it's WBC world title or Satsuma Head,
I just can't wait to get in there and splatter his Satsuma head all over the canvas.
Satsuma Head. He loves it, don't he? He's been calling out other fighters in all his interviews as well on this anyone can get the smoke type deal, and he's got a little nickname for Gervonta Davis as well.
But there is loads of options. Obviously, you've got Ryan Garcia, Haney, Javon Palumpa. You got Javon Palumpa and Devin the Dream Puss Haney. You know, Haney, if Garcia, if Javon Palumpa, if they want to come up to 147, they're 140. So they want to cut to 147 and challenge me for the world title, then that's fine. Well, apparently I've heard through the grapevine, Javon Palumpa can't get on a roller coaster still. I'd even do a catch weight with Javon Palumpa at 143. And then you got Queen Ryan. Yeah. And then you got Javon Palumpa. No, I like Teo. Yeah. Haney, Queen Ryan. Sorry, let me start again. Puss Haney, Queen Ryan, and Javon Palumpa. Any of them three can get it. The likes of Queen Ryan, Haney, and Javon Palumpa.
Obviously a nickname for Devin Haney as well there, as you just heard. So funny little name calling gimmick to be fair there, shades of Chris Jericho. But Queen Ryan is nothing original, of course. Now to look at a recent example of a Conor Benn incident, which is ultimately what led me to the idea of making this video. That was his confrontation with Ryan Garcia at the Ring Awards recently. It was the top few comments of this IFL TV video that had me thinking, yeah, this guy might be the most hated man in boxing right now. So yeah, I'll just play it here before I say anything.
Would you fight Conor Benn? He's there? Is that a fight?
Yeah, of course I would fight him. Yeah. How does it go? You tell me. You tell me.
Won't work on me.
We'll see. That's what they all say, but somehow I find the target every time.
Don't be talking shit in my city.
No, I'm serious. I'm serious. Come on now. Come on now.
Talking shit in my city.
You know how it is. Your city?
In my city.
You don't think I'm gonna hit you with that left hook?
No.
Many fighters like you. I thought that was strong. Yeah, you go for it. You go for it. You go for it. You're the one that started that shit.
Go on, you go for it.
Ryan, before you go, can you just give us a reaction to that bit with Conor Benn?
Classic Conor Benn. It was fun.
You think you beat him?
Yeah, of course.
How does it end?
I knock him out. He's a little too jittery. Is this our car?
Now, I'm a fan of Ryan Garcia personally. I was rooting for him in the lead up to the Devin Haney fight, and watching that fight live was a treat. But Garcia is of course a very divisive figure himself. Similarly to Ben actually, being known to act out a bit and had the drug scandal of his own. So the fact that people are unanimously on the side of Garcia in this confrontation solidifies my take that Ben is the most hated man in boxing right now. But rightly so in this instance. Garcia handled himself with more class and Ben was definitely forcing it with the confrontational thing. But yeah, it's just the fact that the two controversial figures have come head to head and Ben has clearly proved himself as the far more dislikable of the two in that brief confrontation. Just to pause here, so I keep saying about all these comments on the Conor Benn interviews and that and not showing them, but look, I'm not just saying fans are saying this and that about Conor Benn just to paint my own narrative here. I don't need to display any comments on screen. After you finish with my video, go on literally any recent Conor Benn interview or anything and just look at the first few comments. It doesn't take that much digging at all to see what the majority of boxing fans think about the guy right now. But yeah, in this confrontation with Ryan Garcia, the thing that amused me was the "don't be talking ish in my city" thing. Why is he saying that? That's jokes. That's some American thing, ain't it? Don't be coming to my city talking ish. Nobody over this side of the pond talks like that. Yeah, there's beef between postcodes and boroughs of various cities and that, but to say don't be coming to my city is just an absurd thing for Ben to say. Especially given the fact that London ain't even his city anyway. He grew up in Mallorca and Australia thanks to his dad's riches. So yeah, the guy's lived a quosty life, bruv. That's why it's just funny hearing him talk like that, I'll be honest. Quickly though, Conor Benn was definitely the one starting on Ryan Garcia in this confrontation, but not to defend Conor Benn here. Ryan Garcia did say this to Conor Benn on a Twitter space just 8 months back.
Hey, ask your girl how my dick tastes. How about that? My shit's huge, bro. Your girl was crying for my dick.
Don't fuck with people like you, bro.
What?
That's it, period.
Ever.
I'll come over there safe, son. Give you a good
God is ass.
People forget, man. I'm just saying, innit? But yeah, so there's a bunch of other interviews where Conor Benn's behaviour has been under scrutiny. I'm not going to go through every example here, but there was a recent one that's come out since that Garcia one. There was a Boxing King media interview with Dev Shani in which Conor Benn jumped into, and Conor Benn was clearly feeding off of having Dev Shani somewhat intimidated. And of course, Dev is not a fighter, he's a presenter. So again, objectively dishonourable and distasteful behaviour here from Conor. But I'm not going to lie, maybe this speaks to me being a mug, but I was actually laughing while watching this. But yeah, in regards to the way Conor Benn has been acting all hard lately, to bring this one full circle now, so I was of course talking about Conor's father Nigel Benn and his rivalry with Eubank Jr at the start of this video just to give a bit of context here. And Conor's father Nigel was known to be a proven tough man. You know, he served in the British Army as a youngster, he had a wild fighting style, which Conor Benn has emulated to a decent extent to be fair, but Nigel was doing it at a higher level and just looked better at it all round. So yeah, the tough guy thing was more excusable from Nigel Benn. But Nigel Benn didn't put on a tough guy act. He just seemed like a naturally wild guy for the most part, you know, organically so because of the hardships that he had went through in his life. And throughout his career, he's out here having these crazy iconic wars in the boxing ring and living a wild life in between fights. He did like to party quite a bit, didn't he? You know, he'd like to go out and pop a few little fellas, as they say. So perhaps Conor Benn's more forced tough guy and wild guy thing is just him trying to be like his dad, bless him. But the thing is, the fans ain't gonna warm to that at all, and they know he was brought up privileged. They're gonna know he's forcing it on and they're gonna reject it, and quite rightly so to be fair. Conor Benn will likely always be seen as a poseur as long as he keeps this up. But on the other hand, you have Eubank Jr, who is a lot like his father in that he is well spoken and carries himself well and people see him as stuck up and all that. And now, you see how people see the Eubank Jr vs Conor Benn fight as a gimmick fight? Well, it's even more true in the sense that we have an almost manufactured version of the bad blood that came as a result of their fathers' personalities naturally clashing ahead of their WBO middleweight title fight. So ultimately, it's up to you as a boxing fan whether you want to reject the fight as a gimmick fight and see it as a totally forced affair, or if you want to suspend your disbelief and see this fight between the two sons as Ben Eubank free, so to speak, and appreciate the history of it without reading into how forced Conor Benn's actions are in trying to play the same role as his father did in the original rivalry. But in saying all that, that made me realise something insanely ironic. So there's a narrative out there which comes from Nigel Benn himself and other figures in boxing such as Frank Warren that Chris Eubank Sr put on this posh act for the cameras, but Nigel Benn was who he was, right? I'm sure you could see where I'm going here. Now their two sons of course both lived a privileged life and were brought up well, you know, going to private schools and what have you. So although people have hated on Chris Eubank Jr for being this stuck up privileged second generation star who's only ever won the IBO belt and is so overrated or whatever, at least his personality is fairly authentic given his upbringing. And now you have Conor Benn, who's trying so hard to be a tough guy in the rivalry and be like his dad, but people just aren't having it. So people see Conor Benn as fake and cringe and all that, which actually makes him the bad guy in this chapter of the Benn Eubank saga, which in turn makes Chris Eubank Jr. the good guy going into the fight. And Eubank Jr. has been hated on a lot throughout his career, and now it seems like everyone wants him to win this fight. But to be fair, it's more so to do with how disliked his opponent is, which perhaps speaks to how hated Conor Benn truly is at this point. So if you believe that Eubank Sr. being this posh character was truly an act, then in turn, Conor Benn has actually taken the role of Chris Eubank Sr. here in the rivalry because he's the one forcing an act, and Chris Eubank Jr. is essentially playing the role of Nigel Benn as he is being his authentic self for the most part. So yeah, how ironic is that? But yeah, this video has been a bit of a mess, I'm not gonna lie. I know there's a lot more to the Benn Eubank stuff, but I mainly just wanted to do a piece on the way Conor Benn has been acting lately here, and all the other stuff I mentioned was just for quick context. As we all know, the fight was announced the other day and it's going to take place in April, so between now and then, I do look to do at least 2 or 3 more videos regarding the whole Benn Eubank saga. So if you're not already, do subscribe to the channel so you can catch those ones. I might do some fun stuff about their dad's fights back in the day, and I might also do some type of proper preview as well on how Conor Benn vs Chris Eubank Jr. should be shaping up in the ring. Also, do like the video if you enjoyed it. I never usually ask for likes and I've never done the whole like and subscribe spiel in any of my vids until right now, but I think I deserve it after having to re-watch a bunch of Conor Benn interviews in order to produce this video. Also, let me know what you think in the comments. Is Conor Benn the most hated man in boxing today? And who are you rooting for in the upcoming fight between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr.? Also, just to note lastly, when I talk about Conor Benn being the most hated man in boxing, I'm not saying all of the negative commenters just have their blood boiling at the sight of Conor Benn. He's also way too easy to banter at this point, especially with the comments about eggs and calling him Eggs Ben Addict, which is just a great play on words. And if you want to have a crack at some more jokes like that, then you'll see some excellent egg related puns under literally any video about Conor Benn. So yeah, there's just a lot of banter surrounding him right now as well. But yeah, leave your comments down below obviously, and you have been listening to O.M.E Boxing.